Hello and welcome back to the BNI Southeast Tennessee podcast. My name is Michael Crosa with Chattanooga Podcast Studios, and I'm here with Elaine Zambos, Director of BNI Southeast
Hello,
Tennessee.
Michael.
Hello, how are you?
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, of course. We're recording today at Wavelength Studios in downtown Chattanooga, and we are continuing with our series on the membership committee.
Yes.
Yeah. And what is it we're talking about this week?
Well, this week we're going to talk about the role of the member engagement specialist, but I want to kind of back up. When we think about the membership committee within a chapter, think about your chapter as a company, and your president is the CEO, the vice president is the COO, the secretary treasurer is the CFO, and the membership committee is the human resources department. And within that human resources department, we have 4 people. And today we're going to talk about the member engagement specialist.
Member engagement.
Yes.
All right.
This episode of the BNI Southeast Tennessee podcast is brought to you by Heather Hendrickson of the Hendrickson Agency, your favorite insurance gal. Heather helped me personally find the best insurance for my home, and so I recommend her to all of my friends as well. A good referral for Heather would be friends, family, or clients who are going through new experiences in life. It could be a new home, a new move, maybe a new baby. Find the Hendrickson Agency on Facebook or Instagram, or linked in the show notes below.
All right, Elaine. So let's hear about this member engagement specialist.
So the member engagement specialist is the person who, it sounds, right? Like member engagement. But this is the person who is doing, again, thinking about it as your company. They're doing employee reviews, right? So every 7 months, you're going to get your review within the year, like we call it the 7-month review. And basically that review is going to be, how do you feel like things are going?
Yeah.
We're going to share with you how we think it's going. What can we do better? What can you do better? What are areas that you want to see differently? How can we improve upon that?
Yeah.
So those are the types of things you would be asking your employees at a review. It's the same thing, because even though our chapter are members, they're really our employees, because every member in the chapter is an extension of your sales force.
Yeah.
So we really are employees of each other, right? Because we're there to sell. So they do the 7-month review. And then the other thing that they do is they're going to support people in that renewal process. So people, and it always cracks me up, I didn't know I was up for renewal. About 60 to 90 days before your renewal, you're getting a drip campaign about your renewal. You're getting reminders in the emails that says you're up for renewal.
Yeah.
And so the member engagement specialist is also helping them through that process. So like, for instance, in our chapter, we've got a couple of people who are up for renew on the first of the month. And so right now, they already decided in the meeting, yes, we want them to continue to be a part of our chapter because they are contributing and they are good employees, right?
Yeah.
And so
so
it's kind of like at the end of the year when a company is looking at, okay, are we going to is this person staying or are they going, right? We've done the review, and based on the results of that review, we're going to, have them continue to stay. They're also the person who's looking at the chapter traffic lights, and how are we as a chapter, because you got chapter traffic lights, you got the member traffic lights. The chapter traffic lights is how we're doing as a chapter, right?
As a whole. But
then the power of one, the member chapter lights, they're also looking at that, because when you look at that report, people are in the green, the yellow, the red, the gray. Well, you can't really just look at it as a number, because there's a story there. Like there's stories to be told throughout that entire report. And so then that's also what they're doing, is they're looking at those stories to see, how well that person is doing, engaging their success. Because at the end of the day, we want everyone to be successful. So it's not a tool to bang them over the head with and say, you got to get out of the red. It's not that at all. It's looking at it going, oh goodness, maybe they've not given a lot of referrals. And when you look at their one-to-ones, and they've not done a lot of one-to-ones, and they correlate really well together.
Oh, yeah.
Totally, right?
Totally.
And so
one-to-ones lead to referrals.
So so we can use that for coaching moments. And so basically, that's what the member engagement specialist does. Is they're the ones doing the reviews for, how are you doing? How can we help? And then making that decision. Is this somebody that we want to continue to have in our chapter the next year? So it's a fun. They're all fun jobs. They're all very different jobs.
You're right.
But that's that particular role.
Cool. So if we've got a member engagement specialist who's listening, and there's a member who's not really pulling through. I mean, do you have any conversations for how to approach those conversations, like empathetically? Again, like you said, we're not trying to like beat somebody over the head with it, and we're not trying to be aggressive.
Right.
So how do you approach that conversation?
So this member is just kind of struggling to get referrals.
Yeah, maybe they're not. There's the numbers just aren't pulling through. They're not showing up. So yeah, how do you start that conversation?
So I think the first I would ask is, hey, do you mind if we have a conversation? My goal at the end of this conversation is to help you be more successful. Are you okay with that?
Yeah.
And who's going to say, no, I'm not okay with you wanting to help me be more successful? Yes, I want you to help me be more successful. All right, let's look at some ways we can do that. But before I make suggestions, what are your suggestions? What do you think are some things that you could do through BNI that could help you be more successful?
Yeah. And somebody might even just say like, oh, you know what? I guess I could be doing more one-to-one. Yeah,
I could do more one-to-ones. I could go to regional events. I could show up to the meeting during open networking time. Well, there's a concept, whatever, right? Like, but get them to talk. And if they say, I'm doing everything I can and I don't know what's going on, then okay, then let's take a deeper dive into this. Let's look at this. And maybe they've done 40 one-to-ones and they still haven't gotten any referrals. Okay, so then right there's two things could be going on. Those one-to-ones are totally social. Right? Or they're not real one-to-ones. They run into each other at Walmart and, hey, Michael, I saw you. I'm going to put that down as a one-to-one. That's not a one-to-one, right?
And not a one-to-one.
Right, but that might be counting it. And so that there's course correction there. Or maybe, they've done these 40 one-to-ones. They're solid one-to-ones, but they're asked every week. We don't know what they want. They're not being very specific with their 60-second ask at the meeting. And so we can try to figure that out during that conversation.
Got it.
Yeah. So, it's just opening up a conversation and asking, do you want me to help you be successful?
Yeah.
And if they say no, well then, hello, member engagement specialist, they probably don't want to renew.
Right. Yeah. Good to know. Well, that's an answer too.
That's an answer too. Yeah.
So cool. Okay.
Yeah, but there's ways to coach people up. I always say we want to coach people up, not coach people out.
Yeah. I like that.
And the more we get them engaged and get their buy-in, the better.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Cool. Well, yeah, that helps me understand the member engagement role better. Yeah, cool. So as we continue this series, we're going to be talking about all of the different leadership roles within the BNI chapter. Next week, we're going to be talking about
Community building specialist.
Community building specialist. Awesome. Our last episode, we talked about the quality assurance specialist. So if you missed that one, definitely go back and check that out.
Yes.
Yeah, cool.
This podcast is produced by Chattanooga Podcast Studios, helping businesses and organizations make a deeper connection with their audience through the art of podcasting. An ideal referral for me would be a professional organization with a state or national presence. You can get in touch with me, Michael Crosa, by going to chatpod.com. That's chat with 2 T's, like Chattanooga, which is linked in the show notes below.
Well, thanks so much, everyone, for listening. My name is Michael Crosa with Chattanooga Podcast Studios. Again, this is Elaine Zambos, Director of BNI Southeast Tennessee. We are recording here in Wavelength Space in downtown Chattanooga, and our set was made by Mad Honey Rentals. If you like the show, be sure to tell your chapter. Like, subscribe, share. All of those things really help us grow the show and get our message out there. And Elaine, you know I'm a new dad.
Yes.
And so I love dad jokes.
You do.
And I hear you got one for me.
I do. So, what do you call a lazy kangaroo?
I don't know.
A pouch potato.
Nice.
A pouch potato.
A pouch potato. Well, thanks everyone. We'll see you again next week.